and welcome back to another story time. I hope you have all had fun getting back into the school routine. So let's get to our story. So today's story is My Best Friend Bob by Georgie Ripper. So I think Seb's ready to read. I'm ready to read. I hope you're ready to read. So let's start. Brian the guinea pig lived in a nice comfy cage in Pete's pet palace with his best friend Bob. Brian had short, shiny fur, which he was very proud of. Bob had long, tufty fur, which he didn't really think all that much about. The two little guinea pigs spent their days doing what guinea pigs do best: eating, sleeping, and playing I Spy. Brian was terribly good at I Spy, and almost always won with clever words such as budgerigar and dog food. One day, Brian and Bob were busy playing when a little boy walked into the shop. "I spy with my little eye," said Bob, but before he could finish, the little boy reached into the cage and picked him up. "I want this one," the boy said. "I shall name him Fluffy." Brian watched as Bob was pulled into a cardboard box with holes in the lid. He just had time to wave goodbye, and Bob was gone. Suddenly, the cage felt big and empty. "Oh dear," sighed Brian. "I shall miss Bob." And he trundled off to find a peanut to cheer himself up. But he didn't cheer up at all. In fact, every day Brian missed Bob more and more, and every day he felt more and more miserable. Then one day, Brian was sitting in his cage feeling glum when he noticed an old man peering down at him. The man picked him up and smiled. "He's just what I was looking for," he said, and he put Brian into a box. At first, Brian was excited. "Maybe there'll be another guinea pig in my new home," he said to himself. He began to whistle and felt much more cheerful. But that evening, he found himself all alone, without so much as an earwig for company. Brian sighed. He wished he was back in Pete's pet palace. At least he could chat to the goldfish there. "I wonder what's happened to my best friend Bob," whispered Brian. "He's probably forgotten all about me by now." He wiped away a tear and curled up in the straw. The next morning, Brian had opened his eyes when he felt his box being lifted up. "What's happening now?" he grumbled, but he didn't really care. Things couldn't get much worse than they already were. He drifted back to sleep, dreaming of Pete's pet palace and winning a peanut throwing contest with Bob. A little while later, Brian was woken by a buzz of excited voices outside his box. "Oh, bother," he said crossly. "Can't I at least have some peace and quiet?" Then suddenly the lid lifted off his box and a bright light streamed into the room. Brian looked up to see a little boy smiling down at him. He sleepily wondered if he had seen the boy somewhere before. The boy picked Brian up and gave him the biggest hug he'd ever had. "Oh, thank you, Grandad," he said happily. "He's just what I wanted. I could call him Snuffles." The little boy put Brian into his new hutch. Brian stretched out and sniffed the air. "That's funny," he said, and he sniffed the air again. As Brian watched, a pile of hay in the corner suddenly started to move, and all of a sudden... Bob! Brian! Brian was so excited to see Bob that he thought he might just burst with happiness. That evening, sitting together in their hutch playing I Spy, the two little guinea pigs had almost forgotten they had ever been apart. I spy with my little eye, said Bob. Something beginning with P. But Brian was already fast asleep. And that is the end of the tale of my best friend Bob. I hope you enjoyed that. This is one of my favourite books. There will hopefully be another one on Saturday. So I'll see you later. Bye!